What's up, everybody? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, whatever it is, wherever you are, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Listen, you've been watching my channel for some time now. Maybe you're a new viewer and maybe you don't know this, or maybe you do. I usually review gaming headsets for gaming audio purposes, etc., blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I thought to myself the other day, man, headphones are cool. They deliver some pretty solid audio depending on what you buy, but sometimes they're a little uncomfortable. And sometimes they're just annoying. And sometimes I just get tired of putting a headphone on, a headphone off, wax on, wax off. Mr. Miyagi, whatever. It gets boring. It gets tiresome. They're just not always all that comfortable. There's got to be a better solution. And I have tried. Okay, I want to reiterate this. I have tried. Let me find them real quick. I have tried gaming earbuds. These HyperX ones, garbage. Don't bother. But there's one type of gaming audio hardware, accessory, I think that's a better word, that I haven't tried because I never ever thought about it until recently. So today we're gonna be taking a look at the KZ ZSX in-ear monitors. And the only reason I'm checking these out are, well, I was on the internet browsing some articles on top recommended in-ear monitors for gaming. And although the website's kind of not necessarily the most reputable source that I've ever seen before, it listed these at number one. And what caught my eye here is that these are $59.99. They're pretty well rated in Amazon, about 1,000 plus reviews with about 4.5 stars. And they kind of met the criteria. So why in-ear monitors? Why would I bother taking time into reviewing those and checking those out? Well, for starters, I love headsets. I really do. I think headsets, some of them are amazing and they deliver great sound experiences. And I think sound is about 80% of the experience for me in games, right? So if you have a great story and great gameplay, but crappy sound, you kind of lose me. Whereas if you have a decent story and decent gameplay, but excellent sound, you keep my attention, at least for longer than some other games might. But the thing with headsets is like, you always gotta, put them on and oh my God, that's such a terrible thing, first world problems. I get you, I understand where you're coming from, right? But if you don't get the right headset, you're gonna get something very uncomfortable with a lot of clamping force and it gets annoying. And also sometimes I don't necessarily wanna be on camera with a pair of cans always on frame. Like I don't want that. I want something a little bit cleaner, something a little more professional looking. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where I once purchased the HyperX gaming earbuds for the Nintendo Switch, but they also work on anything with a 3.5 out port. Anywho, these guys, unfortunately, didn't sound that great, but not only that, they're also very uncomfortable. Like I'll show you some like pictures zoomed in here, like of the design of this thing. The way that these are designed, it's not comfortable, first of all. The other thing too is it doesn't really create a good seal in my ear. So a lot of sound gets out, a lot of sound gets in, and it's kind of annoying. And I don't recommend them, they're kind of garbage, okay? So I saw the article talking about the KZ ZSX in-ear monitors. I picked them up. They got here the very next morning. Thank you, Amazon. And first things first, y'all, let's check this out, all right? They just go in like any nice little earbud would do. And they have this design where the wiring is designed to basically loop around the back of your ear. You push them in here, make sure that the seal is nice and good. And that's it. And now I go from having this to this. And this right now achieves this clean professional look that I'm going for in certain situations. It's not just about the fit and the look on camera, it's also about the sound. So what are the differences between in-ear monitors and your typical average gaming headset? Well, that's an excellent question. So besides the obvious differences in fit and design of the actual devices themselves, whereas you've got the headset that goes over your ears, the in-ear monitors that go in your ear, the biggest difference I've seen so far is the actual drivers themselves. The ATH-DDL3s, which is one of my favorite gaming headsets of all time, is a single 45mm driver in each ear cup. The KZ ZSX in-ear monitors have 5 drivers per monitor. You have 2 drivers for medium and high frequencies, 1 driver for low frequencies, and 1 separate driver for additional high frequencies as well. Now, the big question that all of you must be asking yourselves is, does more drivers translate into better audio? I'm glad you asked. Let's talk about that. So the one big critique that I have for these in-ear monitors is that they were lacking bass. And although bass isn't completely absent in the sound experience that I had with these in-ear monitors, they were lacking bass, but just by a little bit. Like if they had just a little bit more bass in them, I think this would have been like a damn near jaw-droppingly, surprisingly amazing, okay? Because I know it's a little uncharacteristic of me. I have clowned headsets in the past, like the Razer Krakens, for being way too bass heavy. But these guys, if they had just a little more bass, I think would be okay. You might be able to get away with tuning it and equalizing it in your hardware, in your computer, what have you. But for the most part, if they had a little bit more, I'd be a little happier. But I'm not totally disappointed with the lack of bass that this in-ear monitor has. They're very comfortable. They're very low profile, so they're not these bulky cans sitting on the sides of your head. They're just in-ear monitors, pieces that you're gonna see right here. They loop nicely behind the ears. I use them for a couple of hours at a time. It took a little bit to get used to at first, but once everything kind of conforms to the shape of your ear, it was okay. It wasn't too bad at all. Now, sound-wise, let's talk about the games that I played first. All right, these are the games that I tested this out on. Red Dead Redemption 2, Final Fantasy VII Remake on Steam, Resident Evil 2 Remake on Steam, PUBG, and I'm forgetting one more. Oh, yeah, The Witcher 3. I played that one too. And the reason that I picked those games because all those games have what I consider to be excellent sound design. You can make a case for PUBG, but there's a different reason why I use PUBG. So for Final Fantasy VII Remake, The Witcher 3, and Red Dead Redemption 2, what I got in regards to audio using the in-ear monitors was a very surprisingly clear and detailed audio experience. I was able to hear a lot more detail compared to what I have experienced using my ATH GDL3s. Now the ATH GDL3s, again, favorite gaming headset of all time. They are exceptional gaming headsets and they do deliver great sound and they sound amazing. But these in-ear monitors delivered a little bit more detail, and specifically when it comes to the soundtracks. The music in each one of these games is incredible, and the detail and the different instruments and the different notes and the different things and cues and whatnot that you get in these in-ear monitors really set it apart from the experience that I got listening to these same soundtracks on my gaming headsets. As far as the ambient sounds and environmental noises and all this kind of stuff, the wind in The Witcher 3 sounded clear. The chatter of the slumps in Midgar in Final Fantasy VII Remake sounded amazing. In regards to combat and the sound that you get while you're playing a video game, the gunshots in Red Dead 2 sounded great. The clashing of swords and the impacts of the hits that you do in Final Fantasy VII Remake and The Witcher 3 sounded really great. The different spell effects and different sound effects that you get in various amounts of games sounded great, super clear, very crisp. No distortion, nothing at all. And the weird thing that is that it sounded very separated from everything else. You can distinctly tell one sound from another using these monitors, which I haven't traditionally experienced in a lot of gaming headsets. So it was a little overwhelming at first. Dialogue across all games, it sounded great. It just sounded really good. Whoa, time out. I almost forgot something super important, and that is the soundstage of these in-ear monitors. I did play PUBG. I love PUBG. Don't judge me. I think it's a phenomenal game. It has its flaws, but that's besides the point. These in-ear monitors have exceptionally good soundstage. I was able to tell with pinpoint, and I mean pinpoint accuracy, where gunshots were coming from, where steps were coming from, where vehicles were coming from, and anything else that you need to know from an audio perspective in a battle royale such as PUBG, Warzone, Apex, Fortnite, what have you. It was so good of an experience that I could even hear the soul of the other player playing from God knows where in that same exact match that I was playing in. Now, that being said, back to the video. If I had to nitpick at one more thing, I would say that the key to really getting good audio from these in-ear monitors is that you have to make sure that a great seal is formed in your ear when you put them in. And the cool thing is that this package comes included with a variety of different ear tips, right? So you can swap them out depending on how big your ear canal is or ear is, right? I did try them all out, and what I found is that the smaller ear tips, unfortunately, were too small for my ear, and so a lot of sound got out, a lot of sound got in, and it just didn't sound great. It actually sounded pretty bad, and I was beginning to get a little worried. But when I swapped them out for the bigger ear tips, the ones that actually sealed my ear, it was an incredible experience. And I'm floored. I'm very surprised as to how good these things sound, especially because they cost $60. right? I've achieved this level of sound quality that I like, spending $130, $100, maybe a little more. But for 60 bucks, this is really damn good. And this isn't even, forgive me in my ignorance right now, but this isn't even a top of the line brand like Sennheiser or Shure or something like that. This is a brand I'd never heard of before. I'm very surprised. I think that there's something definitely worth looking into in regards to gaming with in-ear monitors. I don't know if the KZ ZSX model is the best one out there, but I can tell you this, for $59.99, you're going to get a really solid audio experience using them. If you're not somebody who's super bass hungry, you won't have anything to complain about. They're comfortable, they're sleek, they're low profile, and they just sound really, really good. And for half the price of what I consider to be the best gaming headset of all time for me, I think that's a damn great deal and damn great value proposition. So if you're thinking about it, if you've never thought about it, because that's what instigated this video to begin with, is if you've never thought of gaming with in-ear monitors, ladies and gents, it might be worth the research and a look into it, and it might just be worth a try it out. So I think that I will continue to research some more, find some other options out there, and maybe over time, a short period of time, we can determine what might be the best in-ear monitors to game on. So until then, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you play with in-ear monitors? Have you thought about it? You know, is it something that you have experience and knowledge about? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. And until next time, be good to yourselves, be good to one another. Peace out.